unang institutional outcome among the four is yung character. So, according sa STI, an STIer is a person of character. An STIer's response, regardless of circumstances, is consistently virtuous. So, dahil sa pandemic, masabi natin na dito talaga nag-shine yung character ng bawat individual sa kanya-kanya nilang bahay. Gaya nga ng sabi dito na kahit anuman ang circumstansya na kinalalagyan natin, bilang isang STIer, meron dapat tayong kakayahan na solusyonan ang mga problema na to. Habang pinapakita natin na meron pa rin tayong mataas na moral standards. Makikita natin yung character development na to kahit sa simpleng pagtulong natin sa pamilya natin sa pamamagitan ng paghugas ng pinggan o kaya sa pagmamano sa ating mga nakakatanda. Kabilang na dito syempre yung pagtulong natin sa klase natin na nahihirapan sa online class. Dahil ngayong community quarantine, mas makasalumuhan natin ang ating mga pamilya. Dito makikita ang karakter natin bilang isang masunurin na anak o kapatid. As an STIer, makikita pa rin natin to sa ating online class. Makikita natin to sa pamamagitan ng pag-recite at paggamit ng po at opo sa ating mga guro upang ipakita na tayo ay may respeto. So that's all. I'll pass this on to you, JB. Thank you.
Today we're gonna talk about the character. So what is character? It is said that an STI is a person of character. An STI's response is regardless of circumstances consistently virtuous. Ang ibig sabihin po nito ay kahit anumang nasa sitwasyon natin, nasa pandemic man tayo, kailangan mayroon pa rin tayong high morality. For example, kapag nandito tayo sa online class natin, minsan na-apply pa rin natin yung online attitude natin sa online class natin. Titingnan natin yan kung paano nagbabago yan, paano natin yan na-improve as classes go on, kung paano natin i-respect yung mga teachers natin, paano natin i-respect yung mga classmates natin, paano tayo magtutulungan. At maaari pa doon is yung pakipag-bonding sa pamilya. Ngayong pandemic, mas nabibigyan natin ng time family natin. Ito na rin yung pagkakataon para makita natin kung paano tayo mag-improve sa sarili natin. Sa simpleng pakikitulong sa kanila sa mga gawaing bahay, paglabas sa mga lugar para sa mga family bonding nyo. So yun ang una natin sa 4Cs, which is character.
An STIer is a critical thinker. An STIer discerns through open-minded analysis and challenges one's belief to further improve creative ideas. So how can I exhibit being a critical thinker in the midst of pandemic in spite of the community quarantine? So first is be practical. Why practical? Kasi alam naman natin simula nagka-pandemic, simula ng virus, nagka-lockdown, nagkaroon ng community quarantine, ang daming business na nag-close. O, syempre, ang daming nawalan ng work. Hindi naman lahat nakaipon, hindi lahat prepared. So, kailangan maging practical. Kung ano lang yung kailangan, kung ano yung necessity, yun lang yung dapat munang bilhin. Kasi hindi naman lahat may budget, di ba? Second is, only go out when necessary. Kasi hindi naman natin alam kung sino yung may virus, kung paano, or kung saan natin siya makukuha. Lalo na ngayon na may bagong strain, mas nakakatakot lumabas. Kung hindi naman importante yung bibilin or pupuntahan mo, kung hindi naman necessity, mas okay na magstay ka na lang sa bahay. Kasi lalo na kung may baby, may bata, or matanda kang kasama sa bahay, mas prone sila sa virus. So, isipin na lang din natin yung mga nakakasama natin sa bahay. Third is share informative articles or news about the virus para updated or maging aware din yung family, friends, and relatives natin. So, keep in mind na be practical, only go out when necessary, and share informative articles.
Let's talk about the third C in STI's 4 Cs, communicator. First, let's discuss its definition as given by STI. A communicator is an STIer communicates to understand and to be understood. An STIer recognizes the emotion behind the information read or heard and expresses his or her own emotion when giving information, may it be verbal or written. In essence, an STIer seeks to know the message behind the words, the thoughts behind the voices. An STIer is steadfast in expressing his or herself because an STIer aims to be able to speak freely and be heard. 2020 has been a rough year for us. There have been so many issues that affected the Philippines, from COVID itself that nearly shut down life as we know it, to missing government funds that would seriously hurt the economy. From the abuse of power that police officers exhibited to the lack of transparency on how authorities investigate events in our country. With 2020 came an influx of information, and as an STIer, it is of utmost importance that we know how to deal with this information, and that we also know how to express what we truly meant. Being a communicator helps us navigate this uncertain world because we know how to understand and how to be understood. Moreover, being a communicator is a skill that is necessary now that us STIers are subject to online classes, where there are more limits to expressing oneself, and social interactions and information interchange are hindered by the virtual nature of classes. As STIers, we are able to apply our ability to understand and be understood despite the limits that this quarantine created, whether it be through lecture calls in Microsoft Teams or group participation and planning through Messenger. Because at the core of being an STIer, we are communicators. An example of how being communicators are exhibited by STIers despite this pandemic is their ability to still learn through online classes where, now more than ever, understanding the teacher and being understood by students are conditions that must be met in more constrained and difficult environment. Yet, here we are. STIers have risen up to the challenge and created a functioning new method of learning even without having prior experience on the situation that we are encountering. Despite not having real-life interactions with teachers, we are still able to learn. Despite the lack of real interactions with our students, we are still able to coordinate and get along. Being able to deal with the information that we encounter despite our circumstances, we shine as STIers. We shine as communicators. If we as STIers are not able to become effective communicators, we put ourselves at risk to become clueless in the affairs of our world, or to become misunderstood and misconstrued members of the society. It can also become a problem when learning, especially considering how difficult peer-to-peer interactions have become. On worst cases, it may even be a difficulty on a daily basis that may lead to arguments and misunderstanding. That is why we need to be able to channel our inner communicators, because I believe that humanity is built on the foundation that is communication. Knowing how to communicate, particularly to understand and to be understood, is a necessary skill that we cannot live without, and that without it, the world would fall to anarchy. That is all, and thank you for listening.
So yung last 4C naman ay change adapt. So an STIer utilize such ability to manage when a need for transformation or transition arise to uplift his or her capabilities and build the capacity of the community where she or he belongs. Ibig sabihin lang nun, ang isang STIer expected na maka-adapt at maka-blend in sa changes or problems na may encounter niya sa buhay. Example na nga dito yung na-experience ng mga estudyante ngayon na online class. Dahil marami naman yung hindi sanay sa gantong type of learning at malayo talaga siya sa nakasanayang face-to-face classes, nakapag-cope up pa rin yung mga students sa change na na-experience nila at hindi sila na wawala ng encouragement and motivation na ipagpatuloy yung pag-aaral nila. Hindi lang naman ito ma-apply sa academic or sa school, magagamit din to sa totoong buhay dahil sa mundo naman walang permanent at lahat nagbabago at naka-encounter ng changes. At yung mga changes na yun, yung nagpe-prepare sa atin para mas maging strong at ma-enhance yung mga skills na meron tayo for the future.
So yun guys, nandito na nga tayo sa panghuli natin na kasama sa 4Cs, which is yung change adept. change adept. Then, bago natin siya palawakin or sabihin natin yung in-depth meaning niya, basahin muna natin yung nasa handout or yung binigay sa ating description ng STI. An STIer is change adept. An STIer utilizes such ability to manage when a need for transformation or transition arises to uplift his or her capabilities and build the capacity of the community where he or she belongs. So pag sinabi kasi nating change adept guys, dito pumapasok yung pagkakaroon natin ng adaptability sa isang bagay. Kung paano tayo mag-a-adjust kapag nasa bagong environment tayo or nasa bagong community nga tayo or nasa bagong lugar tayo. And one of the most example na pwede kong maibigay sa inyo is yung sa online class natin ngayon. Kasi syempre, not all of us naman and majority of us is first time pa lang syempre magte-take ng online class kasi nga dahil sa pandemic. And doon makikita natin sa una syempre parang nahihirapan tayo kasi wala pa tayo nung first hand na experience na tinatawag. Kasi kapag meron tayong first hand experience, doon na tayo nagsisimula magkaroon ng adjustment para mas ano pa natin yung skills natin regarding doon, which is doon pumapasok yung change adept, yung adaptability mo para ma-adjust mo yung sarili mo na hindi ka na nahihirapan or to make it better na yung better version ng sarili mo is maayos or mas mapalawak mo pa yung mga skills mo regarding those. And yung pa nga sa change adept, isa pa dito sa masasabi ko is yung kapag sa work or sa eto nga nasa college na tayo, like for example na pumapasok na nga tayo sa na experience natin nung yung senior high school na nakapag OJT tayo. And hindi naman siya totally OJT siya pero 80 hours lang siya. Doon ko na experience yung parang pagiging change adept ko na nag-a-adjust ako doon kasi nandun yung mga sir ma'am natin na kailangan natin i-respect tapos sumunod talaga sa kanila na kailangan natin pagpursigihin talaga at ayusin sarili natin para ma-caught up natin yung skills na kailangan natin when nandun na tayo sa environment na yun. Then yun lang para sa akin yung sa change adept na kailangan natin bilang estudyante or bilang sa sarili na natin talaga na dapat magkaroon tayo ng na tinatawag na change adept kasi napaka-importante nito kapag na-master natin yung pagiging ganito natin or na kapag palagi natin itong ina-apply sa sarili natin kasi yun talaga yun doon pumapasok yung application mo sa sarili mo. Then yun, maraming salamat sa panonood nitong vlog na to and I hope may mga natutunan kayo sa 4 C's natin, yung sa character, pagiging critical thinker, communicator, and lastly nga itong diniscuss ko is yung pagiging change adept natin. Thank you guys for watching, maraming salamat and goodbye!